Hello, lovely Somas. Welcome to class. We are going to start out lying down and going through our supine Soma Scan. Just before we get started, remember to have any props nearby, pillows, blankets, just to help you support any areas that need extra support. Come on down when you are ready. Rolling over onto your back. And then extending the legs one at a time. And once you arrive, just take a big breath in. And let it go. Just observe your breath now. You might want to place your hands on your low belly and encourage the breath to travel down. So as you inhale, you feel that hands on your belly rising up. And on the exhale, you feel the hands on the belly sinking down. And you may find that this is difficult to do. Maybe you feel more of movement in your chest. And that's okay. Don't force it. Don't make this uncomfortable. Just invite it to come down and see how far you can have it reach towards your hands. And just be quietly aware that beneath right under the rib cage is your breathing diaphragm. So it's contracting as you inhale. It moves down. And on your exhale, it moves up and relaxes. And just allow the breath to continue to flow in and out of your body and bring your awareness to your heels. And just noticing, where are your toes pointing on each foot? Pointing up, pointing inward, pointing outward. What do you notice? What are the feeling, the feeling of your heels against the floor? Where do they connect? And is there a difference in the left foot compared to the right? Notice the calves, back of the knees, hamstrings. So the large muscles in the back of the legs, each leg, how do they connect to the floor? How do the legs dangle out of the hip sockets? What does it feel like in and around the hip sockets? Is there any tension anywhere with the feet, the legs, and into the hip sockets? And what is the pelvis doing? Does it feel tipped or is it level? Does it feel tilted or tucked or hiked? Put all your awareness into how it's presenting itself here and now. How does the pelvis blend into the low back? Is the low back arched? And if it is it a comfortable arch, uncomfortable arch? If you were to drive your hands underneath on each side, does one hand go in easier than the other, almost indicating that there's more of a contracted arch, more so on one side than the other? Maybe there's no arch at all. Maybe you feel the back, low back flattened against the floor. So if it's arched, can you be aware of muscles contracting to hold it in that arch? Or if it's flattened, can you be aware of tightness at the front of the body that's bringing you into that arch? Is there shortness on one side of the body? So from the hips to the armpits, does one side feel like it's closer, shorter on one side and longer than the other? How do the back ribs meet the mat? The shoulder blades? And your arms, so starting at the shoulders are just think of the hands. If the hands are opened up, notice how that rolls the shoulders back and opens up the chest. Turn the hands down, palms of the hands face down to the floor, and notice how that rolls the shoulders forward and toward one another. So just explore turning the hands over. Notice what that feels like, and then turn the hands down, noticing what that feels like. Notice with the palms down that it tightens the shoulder and neck area. Notice with the palms open how that softens the shoulders and just invites an opening in the chest area. Notice what is more comfortable for you. We're getting familiar with our patterns. Can you identify a green light pattern here? A red light? Or a trauma? Or a combination? What are you discovering about yourself each time you come to the floor and take inventory? When I work with clients on my body table, I always start out with pulsing from their foot, each foot individually, and sending a pulse up their body to see how the body moves and see how the movement transfers up, and if there's areas where it gets stuck. So try and anchor your heels into the floor and start to push off and create this rocking motion throughout your body. And just notice if it's easy to do and you can pulse your body and you feel it all, the movement transferring all the way up to the head and the shoulders, the arms. Or do you find that your body's almost like a boulder and it won't budge? And if there isn't a lot of movement, you find that your feet or your knees are trying to do something to compensate, to make this movement. But just try and rock the feet up and down, but you're letting the heels anchor, and you're using that anchor to push off and send this ripple of movement upward. What does that feel like? Is that easy for you to do, or is it difficult? What does it feel like through your whole system? Body rocking can be very soothing for our nervous system. But if you're stuck somewhere along the line and there isn't a lot of movement, you might find that you're feeling it's more frustrating and limiting than soothing. Something new to practice. Slow the movement down and then go ahead and bend your legs. Heels in line with the sit bones, remembering the feet aren't so far away that it arches your back, and they're not so close that it smushes your back into the floor and tightens the front. Just find that happy medium. And when you get your feet in position, and I don't want you to fix anything here, but it's just something I want you to notice, is bring your feet really close together and then pick the feet up off the floor and have a look at them and see if they're aligned. And I don't want you to fix anything, it's just noticing, and you might go, oh wow, like my right foot's just a little bit higher or more forward than my left foot, or it might be the opposite. So just notice what you notice, don't fix it, lower the feet down, and then step the feet apart again so you've got that space in between the feet and you feel the heels are lining up with your sit bones. But just bank that information. And then let's go into our arch and release. So remembering to place pressure into, a gentle pressure into the tailbone. So think of the pelvis like a bowl of water that's full to the brim. And as you inhale, you're going to pour, press down with the tailbone, you're going to pour the water between the legs. That bowl of water is just pouring between the legs towards your heels. The back arches up off the floor, and then slowly release down. So this is our first pendiculation of this practice. So remembering the 3 phases, arch brings us into a contracted state. So the first phase of pendiculation is contraction, tightening the muscles. Then the second phase is slow, controlled release. And then the third phase is integrating, relaxing and integrating into our brain that's new muscle length. So we're recreating the green light pattern, the on-demand muscles in our back. So inhale and arch. Notice the back tightening. Let the shoulders move into, the back of the shoulders move into the floor, and invite the chin to come down to the chest. So here we're in a full back contraction in the back of your body. Now slowly release and pay attention. This is the juicy part, that slow controlled release, to let those muscles uncontract, and then you rest and let them relax even further. Again, inhale and arch. Pelvis bowl of water pours between the legs. Chest opens, chin to the chest. Noticing what's tight, and then release out of that tightness. Now we're going to switch that and release into the flatten. And if you've been doing your home study, your home practice, and you may have become familiar of your trauma reflex, or your habit of not going straight down the center towards the tailbone, but off to one side. So remembering to pause this video and do a recalibration of the pelvis if you are going off center of the tailbone. So that recalibration is really important so that you don't continue to arch and flatten with your pelvis off kilter. So pause the video if needed and do the recalibration, and then come back to following the rest. So take a breath in. We're going to go into the flatten now. And on the exhale, your belly is going to start to sink. So I like to think of the water like swirling around. You've pulled the plug out of a full sink of water, and the water just swirls around and goes down the drain. And think of the belly as the drain, and there's that sinking down, which then sinks the low back down, and it turns the front of the muscles on. And then take your time coming out of that, because you want to notice what's contracted is now slowly letting go all the way up. So right from the belly down to the front of the pelvis, and from the belly all the way up to the chest and neck and head. Take a breath in to get ready, and on your exhale, sink the belly, sink the ribs, sink the chest, and notice how the shoulders respond. They pop up off the floor, the pelvis tucks. It's like the bowl of water is now pouring between towards the navel. And then slow control release out. Notice what the release is like. Is it jumpy, jerky, shaky? So we're looking for signs of sensory motor amnesia, and it can show up with limited range of motion, pain, tension, resistance, just that jumpy, jerky, shaky, or just not in full control of that release. It might just want to drop out fast. Let's get ready for another flatten. Breathe in. Exhale, belly sinks. Ribs, chest, shoulders, slump. Bring your chin up. So we're bringing ourselves into that red light reflex of worry, doubt, fear. Now slowly release out of that. And then tip one knee up, stand the leg and the other, and just come back. So just 3 arch and release and 3 flatten and release. Has anything changed compared to your original scan? And then rebend the legs one at a time. Position the feet at a comfortable distance. Take your hands and place them underneath your head. Remembering to support the underarms if this is uncomfortable for you. And then interlace fingers not high on the head, but lower, so to the mid to the bottom part of the back of your skull. And here we're going to go into an arch and curl. So first, breathe in, move yourself into the arch. Open up the chest by pressing the back of the arms into the floor. And then exhale to slowly release out. And remember, breathe whatever's comfortable for you. So my breath cues might not work for you. You might need to take more breaths in between, so by all means do. Now let's go into the flatten, and this is where we'll curl up. So breathe in to get ready. And then on your exhale, sink down. When you feel the back flatten into the floor and the chest and the belly muscles are on, fold the arms in, pick the head up. And then slowly release down. As you soften out of the flatten, You delicately place your head back on the floor and then open up the arms. Again, inhale and arch. Feel the back muscles contract. And then slow control release out to uncontract the muscles. Completely let go. Get ready for the flatten and curl. Breathe in to get ready. Exhale, sink. Fold the arms in. Can you stay at the top here, but keep breathing and breathe into the space between your shoulder blades to broaden the back. And then slowly release out, breathing your way out, nice and slow. We're never rushing. And your brain's awareness is completely on what you're doing. Inhale, arch. And release. On your next exhale, sink down to the flat, fold the arms in, curl on up, keep breathing, and notice that we're shortening the front of the body as we lengthen the back. So the curl offers a lengthening to the back. Imagine being in a hammock here, and you just let everything go in the back as the front does a job of contracting. Breathe into the back. And then slowly release out. Head comes down, arms open up. And then take the hands away. And then we're going to turn over onto our sides and slowly come over onto our tummies and explore the back lift. And because we're going to be on the stomach, if you feel like you need some more, if it's pressure on the breast line, then bring a folded blanket that goes right underneath, like right across the belly. So that will help elevate you when you come to lie down on the belly. Breast tissue falls over. It just helps take pressure off if you feel any pressure there. And if you're ever curious about, you want to take advantage of doing the back lift and, lying on your tummy is just not appropriate, let me know. There's always modifications. You can do this standing and you can do this sitting, and you can do it while lying on your back. So if you're ever looking for modifications, let me know and I'll let you know what those are. If you have long hair, I suggest pinning it back so the hair doesn't get in your face and you're not distracted by it. So lying down on your belly, we're going to take our right arm and we're going to extend it alongside our body. And then I'm placing and turning my head to the left and then lowering my head down. Now this can be uncomfortable for anyone that has some neck tension. So you can always bring in a blanket or a pillow. And what I often do, because sometimes my neck gets uncomfortable with this, is I take turns bringing my head to neutral when I need to, but also try putting a pillow or blanket on the side of my head. So it supports me and my head isn't completely cranked, like flat out on the floor. So take some time to support yourself so that you are comfortable. And then you want to be able to see your thumb. So position it so that your thumb is sort of in line with your eyes, nose area, and you're comfortable through the upper arm, right? You don't have it squeezed in tight beside you, and you don't have it way up. So just position it so that you use your eye nose as a line landmark. And then notice your legs and make sure that the legs aren't wide open. I notice my tendency when I do the back lift is sometimes I have one leg that kicks out, and it's something to pay attention to, that you just want to have your feet at a comfortable distance apart, always using the sit bones as a guideline of coming leg straight down from the sit bones. And then what I want you to do is just give a little rock from side to side, and just notice when you rock to one side how it de-weights the other side of the pelvis, which takes you out of neutral. And then slowly let it come out of that and breeze through neutral, and then shift your weight into the other side. So you've got more weight on one side of the pelvis and the other side is hiking. So why I'm pointing this out is just watch when you go through the back lift, and especially if you have a trauma reflex pattern, you might go into the trauma reflex pattern when you're trying to do this movement, back lift, which addresses the green light pattern. So this is about the on-demand go muscles of the back line of the body. But if trauma is present, it might hike the pelvis on one side when you're going into the leg lift. So just be aware of that so that you can correct that. So with the hand down, think of a string being attached to your elbow, and allow the string to pull the elbow up off the floor. Palm stays down. And notice when you lift the elbow up, the muscles around the shoulder blade contract. So you pay attention to that, and then you slowly lower down. And you're only lifting your elbow up to the height that is optimal for you. Slow, controlled release, and completely let go. Let's bring the breath into this. Inhale into the front of the left shoulder. Elbow comes up just to a height that feels right for you. You notice what's contracted. Now you slowly control the release. Notice what that release is like. Is it under your control, or is it jumpy, jerky, shaky? Completely letting go at the end. Make sure everything turns off. Again, inhale into the front, lift up to contract, and as you exhale, slowly release what's contracting. There was a little jump in mine. So you'll quickly notice sensory motor amnesia if you find that it jumps, it jerks, it shakes, or your arm just wants to come right down, or there's pain or discomfort, there's restriction, some limitation, all the above, all different ways sensory motor amnesia can show up. And just a reminder that sensory motor amnesia is just means your brain's no longer in full control of those muscles. So this is the point of pendiculation, is so that we regain that control. You eliminate sensory motor amnesia, you eliminate your discomfort. Okay, let's work with the head. Inhale, lift the head. And this is a lovely opportunity. Turn the head to neutral so that you take a break from having it turn. Notice what happens in the back when you lift your head. Can you feel a contraction in the low back? Lower your head down, and we'll try that again. So full awareness on your back now. Inhale, soft belly into the floor. Lift the head. What happens in the back? Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift the head. Keep breathing. Turn the head to neutral if you would like a little break here at neutral. And then turn the head back, lower down. So notice the back, if you can, notice what's contracting. And that when you release out, Oh, you let that go. Now we'll slide the fingers underneath the nose and cheek area so that your fingertips are glued to the side of your face. And this time, we're going to inhale, we're going to lead with the elbow, then the hand, and it's going to lift up the whole piece. The elbow, hand, and head is going to lift up. Contract the back and slowly release down. Let everything go. Inhale, release the front. You gotta let the front go in order for the back to contract. Pause at the top and notice, can you feel the back contracting and also maybe even the right glute? And slowly release down. Let everything go. And then inhale, rise up. Notice what happens in the pelvis. Is the pelvis staying level or is it hiking? Is it lifting? Keep breathing here, and what you can do is put a little bit of weight into your left foot and allow that to steady yourself here. Notice what happens. Does it feel like the right leg wants to get involved when you lift it up here? And then slowly let go. Like I just noticed my right leg just wanted to gently float up a little bit. So we'll explore that. We'll keep the arm and head down. Take an opportunity to turn your head to neutral if you'd rather. And focus on your right leg. Inhale, lifting, just an inch or two. Notice what contracts in the right leg. Can you feel the buttock muscles contracting on the right side? And then slowly lower down. And then make sure everything's turning off in that right leg, right into the right glute. Again, inhale, let the right leg float up. And stop and hold and notice how that speaks to your left shoulder. And as you're releasing, can you feel, in addition to the right leg letting go, the left shoulder starts to relax down? So is there a connection between the right hip and the left shoulder? Now let's put this all together. And we're going to lift the elbow, hand, and head and the right leg. Let's do the upper body first. Inhale, elbow, hand, head. Just up to a height that feels right for you. Invite the right leg up. Is it easier when you do this together? Now notice the diagonal pattern of contraction between the left shoulder, right pelvis, and down the right leg. And slowly release out. So that's the pattern of muscles that contract when we walk. Inhale, rise up, elbow, hand, head, leg. Can you turn the head and look at your left elbow? And then slowly adjust it if that was uncomfortable, and then lower down. What's the pelvis doing? Is it rocking? So if it is, press a little bit of weight into the top of the left foot to give you some leverage. Inhale, rise up. Pelvis, keeping it level. And then slowly lower down. Let's slowly turn the head to center. I like to
to stack my hands on top of one another, to rest my forehead on top, and then curl the toes under and let your heels gently rock from side to side. And we're coming back to noticing the pelvis goes in a sway here, right? You shift the heels over to the left, you feel the weight going into the left side of the pelvis. You come back, heels to center, the pelvis comes into neutral, then you let the heels drop over to the right, weight goes into the right side of the pelvis, and the left side of the pelvis de-weights. So just this little rock and forth, rock back and forth, and noticing how the pelvis sways here. And so that when you go into your back lift, you stay in that neutral position. Okay. And then we're going to set up for the other side. So I'm just going to adjust myself. And this time we're extending the left arm alongside the body. So it comes down alongside the body. You're turning your head to the right. And then you're positioning your hand so that you can see your thumb. Okay. So let's see what it's like on the right arm. So palm down, inhale into the front of the shoulder, float the elbow up. Notice what contracts around the shoulder blade, and then pay attention to the contractions. And then as you release, you want to go slow, but you don't want to go so slow that it causes discomfort. Just a nice, slow, smooth release. And then when the elbow touches down, completely relax the right shoulder. Inhale, elbow floats up. All the way up to the top of your comfortable range. What's it like in this arm compared to the other arm? And then slowly release. One more time, inhale, float up. And then let go. Controlling it all the way to the end, and then bringing it into complete relaxation. Floating the head up on your inhale. If you're having your head turned here to look at your right hand, keep breathing and turn your head slowly to neutral. So if your neck is a little tweaky, take lots of time in returning it to neutral. And then bring it back, place it down. Notice the next time you inhale and lift your head, how the low back contracts. And you're just lifting your head up as high as you comfortably can. It might be an inch, right? It might be more than that. Whatever's comfortable for you. Noticing that low back contraction, and then how the contractions start to soften and let go when you release back down. The front needs to release as you inhale into your belly, releasing the front of the body so that the back of the body takes over to float the head up. And back down. Sliding the fingers underneath. And now let's do the whole piece of elbow, hand, and head. Inhale to let go of the front. Float on up. Keep breathing. Back contract. Notice how that speaks to your left buttock and left leg. And slowly release down. Is the pelvis staying level or is it tipping? So if you notice notice as you inhale and lift up that the pelvis wants to go into a little bit of a jig. There's a way to recalibrate that. So, as mentioned previously in a previous class, is we do more of what the brain wants to do. So if you're hiking, I'm just going to use the left side, well, I'll use the right side because you can see it. If you are lifting and you're noticing one side of your pelvis is hiking, you're going to do more of what the brain wants to do. And you're going to let it. Not as you go into the lift, but you're going to recalibrate by rocking your weight into one side of the pelvis to let the other side hike up. And then you're going to come through neutral. And then you're going to let your weight shift over into the other side of the pelvis and let the opposite side hike up. And so you just do this little rock back and forth. Coming out of pelvis, or coming out of neutral, and then breezing through neutral and then into the side. So this really puts your brain into full alert of where neutral is. And it's not hiking on one side of the pelvis, right? It's right in the center where you're not hiking on either side. And so it's a quick little fix to come into this and notice, if that was your experience, what is it like now? So back to inhaling, lifting, elbow, hand, and head. Notice what's happening down the back and into the left glute, the left buttock, and down the leg. Does it feel like the left leg wants to lift? And then slowly lower down. And you might think, it does feel like my leg wants to lift up off the floor. So let's go ahead and lift it. Just the leg. Inhale. Feeling what contracts in the leg and into the buttock. And slowly release out. Letting everything go. Letting the buttock muscle, make sure the buttock lets go and the leg softens. Inhale, float the left leg up again. Can you feel like your right shoulder wants to get involved? And then slowly release out. Letting everything go. And then we're gonna go right into the full back lift. And why, if you're experiencing that, the left leg wants to work with the right shoulder wants to work with the left leg, that's how we're designed. It's the muscular pattern of walking, and we're designed to move as a system. So it's for free, easy walking, we want the right shoulder communicating to the left hip and vice versa. So let's put the whole piece together. So inhale, go ahead and float the elbow, hand, the head, and the left leg up. Keep the pelvis level. Put a little pressure into the top of your right foot if you need a little leverage. And then slowly release down. Remember to turn your head to neutral if you need to. Let's do that 2 more times on your own. Breathe your way into it. Breathe your way out. Place your hands on top of one another. When you're done, slowly turn your head to neutral if not already there. forehead on top of your hands. And then this time we're going to bend the legs, the lower legs, so that the soles of your feet are facing towards the ceiling. And you're just going to let the feet sway from side to side. So just give a nice little soothing rocking motion from side to side. Easing out any tension in the low back if you uncovered some. And then when you're ready, go ahead and we're going to turn back over onto our backs. So take your time in getting there. And then whenever you get there, go ahead and explore the arch and release and the flatten and release 3 times. And I'm doing the arch and release, and then I'm going right into the flatten after. So you can explore it in your own way. Arch 3 times and arch and release 3 times, and then go into the flatten and release 3 times, or you can blend them, but just remembering to let go into relaxation before you go in to the next one. Because you don't want to be contracting on one side of the body and then go right into contracting the other. When one side contracts, the other ought to relax. And if you move through it too quickly, you may not be able to completely let go of those contractions before you move into another one. So pendiculating one pattern, one stress reflex before moving into pendiculating the next one. And then take the time you need to finish that off. Don't let my words rush you. And I am going to move on to the cross, lateral, arch, and curl. But if you still need more time, pause the video and then come back to this. So the cross, lateral, arch, and curl does for the front of the body what the back lift does for the back of the body. So we're going to take our right hand and place it right underneath our head. And again, if you need some padding underneath your right arm to elevate it, to make it more comfortable, go ahead and do so. And then we're going to pick the left foot up off the floor and let your left hand reach for that left knee and hold it. And I do recommend, if, arms are short on some of us, so if you feel like, oh, I can't even reach my knee, sometimes you can just hold hold on to the material of your pant, or if you have a yoga strap or a house coat tie, you can wrap it around your leg and hold on to the tie so that it allows you to lift your leg up, but it also allows you to have your left arm comfortable so that you're not straining through the left arm trying to do this movement. So we're going to inhale and arch, and then we're going to curl, but we're going to do it on the diagonal. So as we inhale and arch, we're going to let the left knee drift away. The back is going to arch, and then we're going to slowly release. And as you start to melt the back, the left knee will wag back in again. Now exhale and go into your flatten. So inhale, I like to inhale to get ready for it. Exhale, sink down to the flatten. Fold the right arm in, curl it up, and go on the diagonal. Let the right elbow move towards the left knee. And it might line up with it, or you might find it goes past. So we're going into a twist here. And then we're slowly placing the head down and then gently opening the right arm. Letting everything go. Inhale, arch. Let the left knee drift away. Exhale, release. So let yourself relax out of that arch. Back muscles turn off. Inhale to get ready. Exhale, sink the back. Let the abdominal muscles contract. Fold the right arm in. Curl on up as if you're trying to get your right elbow to touch the left knee. We're not forcing it to go there. We're just taking it in that direction. So it's not about the elbow touching the knee. We're just taking it in that direction. And you're just moving with whatever is your most optimal range. So remember, we're not over-efforting. We never want to over-effort, right? We're just contracting muscle groups so that we can pendiculate them. So let's inhale, arch. And exhale, just melt. Melt your back muscles. Breathe in softness into the belly. Now exhale, sink the back, sink the ribs, and fold the right arm in and curl on up on the diagonal. And then slow control release. You're breathing your way out of this. Head comes back down, right arm opens up. Now release the left leg and just bring the right arm out. So both arms are resting alongside your body. And let's extend the legs here and just notice what it feels like. Notice what it feels like on the diagonal between the right shoulder and left hip. What does that diagonal feel like? Notice the diagonal from the left shoulder, right hip. What does that diagonal feel like? And then just scan like entire left side of the body, entire right side of the body. Noticing what that feels like. Rebend the legs and set up for the left side. So left hand under your head. Get comfortable in the left arm. And then right hand's going to reach for the right knee. And your right knee is just hovering over your hip. You're not pushing or pressing it into your chest. You're just letting it hover. So think of this perpendicular. Your right thigh is perpendicular to the ground.
using your pant material if you need more space in your arm and shoulder, or a tie. So inhale and arch. Let it be gentle. It's a little different with the leg up. So maybe it's smaller and subtler. Inhale and arch. That right leg drifts away from you, but don't let go of it. And then exhale, melt. Get ready for the flatten. You're going to take a breath in to get ready for it. And on your exhale, you're going to sink the back, sink the belly, sink the ribs, fold the left arm in, and let it diagonally cross over the body to aim the left elbow towards the right knee, or you might have gone past it a little bit, depending on what your twisting range is. So this allows to improve, increase the rotation in the trunk. So when you let go out of that, make sure everything that was tightening is letting go, and you're not holding tension when you release out of it. Inhale, arch. Exhale, release out of the arch. Let the back go. Inhale to get ready. Exhale, sink the belly, sink the back, sink the ribs, fold the arm in, curl on up. And it might be different on this side. You might not be curling up as high as you did on the other side. So just take all that in. Bank the information. One more on your own, at your own pace. And releasing out when you're ready. Tipping one knee out, lengthening the leg, then the other. Sense, notice, feel. Notice the diagonals. Notice each side of your body. Rebend the legs. So line the heels up again with your sit bones, and again, heels not in too tight, not too far away. You're finding that neutral place so your pelvis is not tilted, not tucked, your back's not tightening, your front's not tightening. And slowly let the legs go together to tip out to the right. And you're not taking them all the way down to the floor. It's just a slow little tip out. Let your feet roll with this, so don't keep them restricted. And you're only letting them tipped out. You're going really slow to test the waters to see first, how does this feel in your legs, your hips, your back. And then bring them back. So you're not going to go too far. You're going to bring them back. You're going to land back in neutral. And then you're going to slide the legs out. Then you're going to rebend the legs. You're doing this at the same time. And then you're going to let your knees tip out to the other direction. And So we're going to move through this from side to side. This simulates the action of skiing. Sorry, thinking of snow may not be your favorite subject, but it may very well be. And if you're a skier, this is a lovely little pendiculation to do before and after. So we're going to bring the head into the movement as well. So as you tip your knees to the right, turn your head to the left. And the knees are going to come back to center, head's going to come back to center. You're going to slide both feet out, lengthen the legs. Rebend the legs. Tip the knees to the left, head goes to the right. Now let's start bringing the breath into this. So inhale, lengthen the legs. Exhale, bend the legs. Tip the knees to the right as you inhale. Head goes to the left. Exhale, bring the legs back. Head back. Inhale, lengthen legs. Exhale, bend the legs. Inhale, knees to the left. Head to the right. So we're opening up, we're inhaling, opening up the right side of the body. Exhale to bring the legs back and the head back. Inhale, releasing the legs. Exhale, rebending the legs. Inhale, knees tip to the right, and we're opening up the left side of the body, head to the left. Exhale, knees and head come back to center. And then just go ahead and repeat this a few times on your own, following your own breath flow. One side, the side that's opening up, you're contracting on the opposite side. If it's too much to drag your knees towards you as you're rebending them, bend one knee at a time. So modify when you need to. Finish the one that you are on now. Don't rush. Take your time. And when you come back to extending your legs, oh, actually, a little check-in. No, we won't do that. Come into extending your legs. And just sense and notice what you feel here. And we're going to go back into the body rocking. So you're going to anchor your heels again. And you're going to start pushing off. Pushing off the heels, sending a ripple of movement up your body.
And you're just assessing, noticing, does this feel any different than it did at the very beginning? Is there more movement? Is your system easier to move? Or is it the same? And then slowly bring the movement into stillness. And just one little check-in. We're going to re-bend the legs. And you're just bringing your heels back again in line with the sit bones. Bring the feet, whenever you get them placed, bring the feet, slide them in together. And then pick the feet up off the floor. And notice if your feet, if they weren't aligned before when we did that earlier check-in, are they aligned now? And I would love to hear your what you discovered with that. And take some time to stay here, cover up so that you keep warm. You don't want to start getting cold and tightening up. And after your practice, go for a walk. You know, even if it's just 5 minutes, go for a walk and just let everything that you've done over this past hour to be integrated into your whole system. And let me know if you have questions or if there's any modifications that you're interested in learning about, and also just how you're making out with your practice. I would love to hear from you. Take care.